ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वतीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतम् भावतीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Shivoham friends, so today I am live as per the desire of my Sadguru Swami Sachidanand Paramahansa Maharaj from Indore, and today we will be reading chapter 71 of third book Utpatti Khanda on creation. Up to now we have seen that this demoness Karkati or Suchi or Viruchika, she has performed tapa, and by the grace of Lord Brahma, she was blessed with a boon that her body reduced to a pin form. So, and she wanted this form so that she can suck blood from all animals. And after performing certain such actions of sucking blood from animals, now Suchi is in remorse mode. Let us continue. Now Vasishtha is saying, after the carnivorous fiend Karkati had feasted for a long period on the flesh and blood of humankind, she found her insatiable appetite to know no bounds. She was never satisfied with anything. She used to be satisfied with a drop of blood in her form of the needle. Now she became sorry at the loss of the insatiable thirst and appetite of her former state. She thought in herself, "Oh, pity it is that I came to be a vile needle. With so weak and slender a body, I can take nothing for my food. How foolish I have been to forego my former gigantic form and change my dark, cloudy figure for something like dry leaf of a forest tree. O wretch that I am to have foregone my dainty food of flesh flavored with fat. I am doomed to dive in dirt and drop down on the ground to be trodden and trampled under the feet of people, soiled and sullied in filth. O me miserable, helpless and hopeless thing, and without any support or status. From one sorrow I fall to another, and one danger is succeeded by another. I have no mistress or maid servant, no father or mother. I have no son or brother, nor anyone to serve or befriend me. I have nobody, no home, and no refuge or asylum anywhere. I have no fixed dwelling anywhere. Instead, I am driven about like falling leaves by driving winds. I am subject to all accidents and exposed to every kind of calamity. I wish for my extinction, but it wishes not to approach me. What have I done? In the foolishness of my heart, I have given away my own big body like a madman, gives away a precious jewel for a paltry piece of glass. This is the kind of habit that a mind has. When it has something, it doesn't value it. When it loses it, then it realizes the importance of that thing. So one calamity is enough to turn the brain out of order. But what will be my case when it is followed by other disasters in endless succession? I am hung up to be suffocated by smoke and dropped down in the street to be trodden underfoot. I am cast away with dirt and hidden under grass to my distress, serve at another's will, and am guided by my guide. I am stark naked while I sue for others, and I am ever a dependent on another's guidance. Long do I work and work for a small worthless gain, and stitching alone is all the work that I have to perform for life. Oh, unlucky that I am, that even my bad luck is so very unlucky. With my remorse today, I see the demon of despair rising before me and threatening to make an end of this body of which I have made an offering to him. After my foolishness, losing so big and bulky a body, what better fate can await me than to be annihilated into nothing, rather than be a thing which is good for nothing? What man will pick me up, who is as lean as a thread worm, from the heap of ashes under which I lie buried by the wayside? No keen sighted man will take such a wretched and forlorn being into his consideration, just like nobody living on a high hill ever stoops to take notice of the grass growing on the ground below. I cannot expect to raise myself higher while I am lying in a sea of ignorance. What blind man, guided by flash of fireflies, can perceive the glorious sunlight? I find myself drowned in a sea of misery, and I know not how long I shall have to labor under my difficulties. When shall I be restored to the form of the daughter of Anjanagiri mountain and stand like a pillar over the ruins of nether and upper worlds? When shall I have my arms reach the clouds and my eyes flashing like lightning, my clothes as white as snow, and my hair touching the sky? When will my big belly resemble a huge cloud and my long breasts hang below like pillows, shaking with the motion of my body, dancing like the wings of a peacock? When will the ash white light emitted by my laughter cast shade onto the sun, and my former high stature threaten to devour the terrible god of death? Some time ago, my hollow sockets, deep as the holes of mortars, flashed with living fire like the rays of the sun, and my large legs moved in my rambling like two monumental pillars. When shall I have my big belly with its huge pot belly? When shall I again have my soft black nails that resemble the dark and humid clouds of autumn? When will those tender smiles return to me with which I moved the great Rakshas demons to my favor? When shall I dance in my giddy circles at the music of the tabor in the forest? When will that big belly of mine be filled with pots full of fattened liquor and be fed with heaps of flesh and bones from dead bodies? When shall I get drunk, drinking the blood of human gore and become merry and giddy until I fast fall asleep? It was I, by my bad choice of austerities, who destroyed my former brilliant body and accepted this petty needle like form, like one who takes the sulfate of gold instead of the precious metal. Ah, where is that huge body that filled all sides and shone like the dark hill of Anjanagiri? What is this puny and pin form in the shape of a leg, spider's leg, thin and lean like a tender blade of glass? The ignorant, thinking it useless, throw a golden jewel on the ground like a piece of glass. So I have cast aside my shining body for a bit of this black needle. O great Vindhya mountains, with your hollow and snow covered caves, why do you not destroy your dull elephants with your knife, with your native lions? It is I who is as silly as an elephant. O my arms that used to break down mountain peaks, why do you fail to pluck the butter like moon with your moony nails? O my breast that was as fair as snowy mountain sides, even without my glassy ornaments, why do you not show your hairs, which were as large as leeches that feed on lion's flesh? O my eyes that used to dispel the darkness of the darkest night and kindle dry fuel with your glaring fire, why do you cease to lighten the air with your brightness? O my shoulder blades, are you broken down and leveled with the earth? Or are you crushed and smashed, or molded and worn out by age? O my moon bright face, why do you not shine over me with your bright beams that resemble the everlasting light of the orb of the moon? Are you now at an end forever? O my hands, where is your strength fire today? Where is your strength fled today? Do not see how I am transformed into an ignoble needle that is moved by the touch of the foot of a fly. Alas, the cavity of my navel was as deep as a well and beset by hair resembling rows of beautiful plants about it. My protuberant posteriors were like the bottom of the Vindhya hills. Where is that towering stature reaching to the sky? And what is this new, uncontemptible form of the needle? Where is that mouth, hollow as the vault of the sky? And what is this hole of the needle? Where is my heap of flesh, meat, and what is this drop of watery food? So the sorrow of Karkati is not ending at all. She is reminding everything that she had and that she lost by her own will. Ah, how lean I have grown, but who is to be blamed for an act of my own doing? So, this is all about the remorse of Suchi in the chapter 71st, which we read out. And now let us move to chapter 72, in which it is described as this Karkati or Suchi is again performing a tap. And Vasishtha is saying, afterwards, Suchi became silent and motionless and thought of resuming her austerities for the sake of regaining her long lost body. Now she will again perform tap to regain what she lost by her own will. With this intention, she returned to the Himalayas, where, abstaining from her desire of human gore, she sat repeating her criticisms and rebukes. In her mind, she saw her needle form entering into her heart with her breathing. Meditating on her mental form of the needle, she was blown upwards by her vital breath to the top of the hill and alighted on it like a vulture from high. There she remained alone and apart from all living beings, sitting amidst burning fire with her form of an ash colored stone. She sat there like a sprout of grass springing in that dry and grassless spot, but soon she faded away into a blade of withered hay in the sandy desert. She remained standing on the toe of one foot, and she continued criticizing and rebuking her own self. In her tiptoe position, she lightly touched the ground and, avoiding all sidelong logs, she gazed on the upper sky with her face upraised and her eyes uplifted. The fine point of the black iron needle penetrated the ground and firmly preserved its standing posture. It fed itself upon the air which it inhaled by its uplifted mouth. The scarcity of food in the forest made her look like she was in search of some prey coming from a distance. Her shadow, shaking in the wind, enticed the unwary to approach towards it. The ray of light, issuing like a pencil from the needle hole, served as her attendant guard on the hinder part. As men are kindly disposed towards the mean who are favorites to them, so the needle was attached to the thin pencil of light that became its constant attendant. The needle had another constant companion, the devotion in its own shadow. But the blackness of its body made it always remain behind the black. Thus, these three, the iron needle, the thin pencil of light passing through its eye, and the needle's shadow, having firmly adhered themselves to the iron needle, became intimate friends, like all good people mutually assisting one another. On seeing Suchi in this plight, the trees and plants of the mountain forest felt compassion for her. Who is there who bears no sympathy for a pious devotee on her penances and austerities? The needle that was stuck to the ground by its foot and had sprung up like some faculty of the mind, was fed with the fragrance of fruits, blown and borne by the breeze of its uplifted mouth. Woodland gods and demigods continued to fill its mouth with the dust of birds and full blown flowers of the wood. But Suchi did not swallow the powdered meat dust that god Indra had caused to be thrown into her mouth for the purpose of frustrating the effect of her tapa. Her fixity of purpose did not permit her to swallow the delicious powder because a person, however mean he may be, is sure of success by the firmness of his mind. Vayu, the god of winds, with his power of uprooting mountains, was astonished to find the needle adverse to swallowing the food. He ministered to it in the form of the pollen of flowers. The resolute devotee is never broken or never shaken from his purpose, though he be plunged into mud or drowned in water or scattered by winds and thrown into burning fire, or when he is shattered by showers of hailstones or struck by lightning or battered by raindrops and intimidated by thunderclaps. The resolute mind is not changed in 1,000 years, and the feet of the firm like those of the drowsy and dead drunk, never move from their place. A holy hermit who is devoted to his purpose in time loses the motion of his external organs, but by the exercise of his reason, he obtains the light of true knowledge in his soul. This is a one catchy uh, spiritual knowledge that we can gain from here. I will repeat this one. The resolute mind, sorry, the next one. This is the 24th verse of 72nd Sarg or chapter. A holy hermit who is devoted to his purpose in time loses the motion of his external organs, but by the exercise of his reason, he obtains the light of true knowledge in his soul. Thus did Suchi gain the light of knowledge and become a seer of the past and future. She became cleansed of the impurity of her sins, and her impurity turned into purity. So Vishuchi became Shuchi. She came to know the truly knowable in her own understanding. After the removal of her sins by Tapa, she felt true bliss in her soul. She continued in her austerity, Tapa, for many thousands of years. Even after feeling the bliss and that true knowledge, she continued, to the great astonishment of 7 times, 7 worlds that became frightened at her austerities. The fervor of her tap set great mountains on fire, and that flame spread to all the worlds like the blaze of an auspicious meteor. This made Indra, the god of heaven, ask Narad about the cause of this intense tap, saying, who is so immersed in tap that she obtains the fruit of worlds by her austere tap? Naradji replied, it is Suchi, who by her continued tap of thousands of years has attained her highest state of enlightenment. She is that light which now enflames all the worlds. It is Suchi's tapa, O Lord of gods, that makes Naga serpents sigh and hills tremble. It causes the celestials to fall down and the sea to overflow on earth. It dries up all the things and casts a shade over bright of the sun itself. With this chapter 72 also ends, and with a brief about these what is contained in these two chapters and the previous chapters about Karkati and uh, or Suchi. One thing can be taken out from it: the restlessness of mind may turn the mind resolute, and by performing tapa or austerities or by doing some other kind of practice, one can attain what is the ultimate goal of life. The Suchi was in was not satisfied with her present form, whether when she was having a giant body or whether she, after uh, performing tapa, she gained a slim needle like form. In both the forms, she was not satisfied. That's why she again performed the tap, and as a result of which, she gained knowledge. So, in a way, whenever there is in something insatisfaction inside us, some kind of craving inside us, this may make us feel uneasy, may make us feel in pain or something like that, but it ultimately leads us to the salvation. With this, we will end today's session of reading, and by grace of Lord Ram and Sadguru Maharaj, we will again meet tomorrow. Until then, Shivoham, friends. Shivoham.